welcome to the SVG-TV news for Tuesday, June 9th. I am Khalil Keita with the details. For the past 2 months, public servants here were working on a shift system to limit the number of people in small spaces as part of physical and social distancing guidelines. However, of recent, Prime Minister Dr. Gonzales said that full-time work has gradually recommenced in some sectors, and from this week, all workers are expected to return to work as per normal, but in an organized manner.
Over the last week, all the public servants, a week and a half, have been coming back. Monday, I expect everybody would be back to work. I'm talking about the public servants now. Because, we had been using certain measures to reduce the numbers. It's and we have to get there. We have to get back there in the most orderly and productive way that we can.
PM Gonzales pointed out that in the private sector, the situation might be different, noting that the impact of the COVID-19 pandemic has affected the spending power in the country.
For some money, because people have lost income. The farmers I know are hoping, and they were saying, okay, we like what you give us and so forth already. But I have to deal with that problem, which means more expenditure. But the revenue base is tenuous. This is why we have to get back to full operation as much as possible. Well,
and PM Gonzales used the opportunity on radio on Sunday to congratulate Team Unity in St. Kitts and Nevis on its second-term victory at the polls, which he said was impressive, given that overseas voters could not return home to cast their votes because of the restrictions in place due to the COVID-19 pandemic.
Team Unity in St. Kitts on the very impressive victory in St. Kitts Nevis. I think clearly the people who have been rejected Denzel 5 years ago, Denzel Douglas, didn't think that he and his party had done enough to come back after 5 years, and the electorate obviously thought that we have seen what Timothy Harris and his team doing, and we're going to give them another chance. And I have no doubt that the fact that overseas voters couldn't come in would have acted, would have been in the favor for the incumbents.
The opposition New Democratic Party, the NDP, has also extended congratulations to Team Unity on retaining government in St. Kitts Nevis. In a news release, President of the NDP, Dr. Godwin Friday, extended congratulations to Prime Minister Timothy Harris and his team, noting that the People's Action Movement, a member of Team Unity, was a sister party of the NDP. He further observed that the victory of Team Unity offers a policy for economic growth and stability to the people of the Federation of St. Kitts Nevis. There is no fuel shortage on Union Island, even as there is no gas station currently operational. The lone gas station on the southern Grenadine Island was destroyed by fire 3 weeks ago. In an interview with SVG-TV News, Director of Grenadines Affairs, Edwin Snag, said fuel is being sourced mainly from neighboring Canawan and in some instances, Carriacou.
There's an unofficial sort of arrangement that is taking place currently where particularly the boatmen and water taxi operators and so on and things, they are going to Carriacou and they are being able to fuel there. Not to go ashore or so on and thing, because there is still the what I would call the lockdown that is taking place there. But they could go to the shore, to the marina, and they can have their fuel. I mean, fuel is coming from Canawan and that sort of thing. And we've had some instances where there are private investors who are bringing fuel from neighboring islands of the Grenadines, and particularly from Canawan. So come to realize realize that traffic is flowing up and down, and vans are moving and vehicles are moving up and down. So it's not to say that we are choked and there's a string around our necks really with fuel, but of course it's something that has to be managed.
Recently, Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonzales accepted an offer from the Grenada government to provide fuel to Union Island. However, the Director of Grenadines Affairs says the protocols are being worked out, noting that he is in regular contact with officials in Grenada.
Discussions between myself and the Minister of Grenada and Carriacou, Minister of Carriacou and Petit Martinique Affairs, in terms of the structure, because it has to be done in a very structured manner. I think, however, that there will be some challenges, and of course there are some guidelines, but we are in continued discussion with it. And I don't know if you would know this, but there has also been a committee that's been set up by the Cabinet to involve in the Director of Trade, the PS Foreign Affairs, there's a representative from the energy unit, and also somebody from the Ministry of Finance. But we're looking and having discussions to make some recommendations to Cabinet to be taken. I guess it should be done by Wednesday coming.
Regarding long-term arrangements for fuel supply on Union Island, SNAG said they are engaging persons in the private sector.
What is happening in terms of the land-based fuel, that's a horse of a different color, and we are in extensive discussions with even private sector entities in terms of how we could manage and handle that in the short term. And we also have to look at a proper entity with relation to the question of fuel in the long term. So there isn't to say that there is a dire shortage of fuel and nobody could drive about and that sort of thing. That's not so.
Vendors in Clifton, Union Island, said like their counterparts on mainland St. Vincent, their business has been affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, and any support they can get will be appreciated. Our news team was in Union Island on Sunday for the funeral service of two of the victims of the gas station fire, and used the opportunity to speak with some of these vendors, who shared how they have been coping during this difficult period.
To the honest truth, I just holding the feet just right now, because nothing really going on. Back still full of all the fish. Everything is here, nothing really going on. The coroner is still on the whole place. But outside still at holding the feet. We're good about it.
Business slow now, real slow, nothing in selling. Things real rough in Union. Last year was better because it was seasonal, but now that nobody can go to Keys, everything is dead.
No, well, since this corona thing coming now, the place get real dead. You ain't really see in your head we are at all. But we just had to give God thanks and praise still for whatever we have made.
In between, kind of good, kind of bad.
Yeah, kind of, but you just have to put yourself in the position and you get through with what you want, don't you? But it's kind of slow, no lie, but you just have to be in position to get through. I do a little construction now and again, do a little music and what's not, go out and see what and thing. So, now I'm still.
Yeah. Well, business is not so nice them days, because of the corona, and you all, mix up of the system. But other than that, the coconut man is trying his best to do good. But before corona, it was very successful. It was making a substantial amount of income. But now, things are very down to the ground. You hardly cover your expenses. I have my flask full of coconut and there is no one buying at the moment, but I hope with the crowd that I have here, I will get some sale.
Some of the vendors say they are aware of the government's stimulus package and support for vendors. However, they have not received any sort of assistance. Director of Grenadines Affairs, Edwin Snag, was asked about support for the affected residents, including the vendors on the island, to which he said they have not been left out and will benefit from the government's COVID-19 stimulus package.
From all aspects of the stimulus packages put forward by the government, there's a unitary status in St. Vincent and Grenadines, and any stimulus that is offered by the state, is extended throughout the length and breadth of the country. We might be a little slow in getting it here because of the distance, the geographical aspect of it, and come on, that's reality. But certainly everything that is there with relation to the stimulus is extended to the people of all the islands of the Grenadines. Not true, that is no. So they have received financial assistance assistance. There have been some COVID assistance that a lot of people have received. There are persons who, some of them may not have yet benefited from the Prime program, but nevertheless their applications are in and being dealt with and that sort of thing. So, and even yesterday, the love boxes that are being, sent by the Ministry of Agriculture and so on, were distributed yesterday.
And the news just reaching our news desk this evening, the Health Services Subcommittee this evening confirms that a crew member who was repatriated on May 26th on the Royal Caribbean's Vision of the Seas died at the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital earlier today. A news release from the National Emergency Management Organization said the 37-year-old man was one of 358 Vincentian sailors who disembarked the vessel on May 30th after testing negative on both the rapid and the first PCR COVID-19 tests. The release said a second negative COVID-19 PCR test result received today confirmed that his death was not related to COVID-19. The crew member completed his 14-day quarantine yesterday. As per the laws of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, a post-mortem examination is expected to be carried out to confirm the cause of death. The Health Services Subcommittee extends condolences to the family and friends of the deceased. The SVG Solidarity Group is supporting the Black Lives Matter movement, a protest in the U.S. over police brutality and racial injustice spurred by the recent killing of George Floyd. Floyd, a 46-year-old black American, died after a white police officer knelt on his neck for nearly 9 minutes in Minneapolis, Minnesota on May 25th, reigniting the explosive issue of police brutality against African Americans. It sparked nationwide protests in the U.S. and across the world, including Britain, Germany, New Zealand, France, and Denmark. The SVG Solidarity Group says it is hoping to hold a peaceful protest on Friday in capital Kingstown and is seeking the permission of the Ministry of Health and the Commissioner of Police to do so. Vice President of the group, Laura Stevens Dublin, said they are hoping to march from the Victoria Park to Heritage Square, where a rally will be held.
My heart, and the hearts of my fellow Solidarity members and friends of Solidarity, we express sincere condolences to George Floyd's family. Because of your death, we are here. We just want to tell you to hold on, be strong, God is able. And that fight has started with you on the ground being killed. The fight will continue. The fight will continue. To your daughter, your young daughter. He said, because of Daddy, this fight has started. And it is true. It is true. True in the sense of the protests in America, persons are coming out. But before that, the blacks were fighting.
Dublin said that the event will not only be held in solidarity with the American people, but for all blacks who continue to face issues of racism and police brutality.
Not only what would have transpired with George Floyd in America, but also our black people who have suffered under the hands of racism and white supremacy. It is high time that we regroup, that we stand up, that we fight for our rights. It is high time that we take back what is ours, rightfully ours. We are fighting for equality because we are no less than the whites. The problem I would have seen in our community, our black communities around the world, is that we fight one another. We fight down one another. But still, it does not mean that we should put down our fight. It doesn't mean that we should not stand up. We need to sensitize the other about the rights, what our rights are, because knowledge is power. If we do not have knowledge, we would not know where to strike.
Making it clear that the event is non-political, Stevens Dublin said it is important that Vincentians stand together as one and acknowledge that Black lives matter.
Non-political event, it will, once permission is granted, as I would have mentioned before, a non-political event. I do not want it to turn out where persons throwing words for the government, the ruling party, members from the ruling party throwing words for the opposition. Because, as I mentioned at this time, we need to stand firmly together. We need to have one voice. And we must remember that Black lives matter. We would have communicated with the Ministry of Health verbally, who have advised us about the WHO and the Ministry of Health and Environment protocols in gatherings, following the guidelines strictly. We will formally submit a letter to them sometime later today. As I mentioned before, we have not obtained permission as yet from the police. Just to be clear, last Saturday, 6th of June, we met at Victoria Park to discuss details in planning.
The SVG Solidarity Group, which was formed last year, is comprised of different organizations such as the Venezuela Vincentian Friendship Association, or VENVIFA, National Council of Women, the National Drum Foundation, and the Cuba Solidarity Group. The Melisiswe brothers, in collaboration with Vinci Marketing, donated several pieces of musical instruments to the RSVG Police Force Band. The instruments were handed over to the Commissioner of Police at a ceremony held yesterday at the band room. CEO of Vinci Marketing, Samuel Brown, said that the relationship started last year with the Melisiswe brothers, who were looking for an avenue where they can donate the musical instruments.
Sometime last year, the Melisiswe brothers were here when we had the 40th anniversary program. We invited them to the lounge, and a bond was formed between Vinci Marketing and the brothers. And what ensued from that, what came out of that, is that they were looking for an avenue to donate instruments and to partner with a team, or a group, or a company who they could partner with, so they could better utilize the many instruments that has been donated to them over the years to their gold mine program. And as soon as we started the discussion, I said to Mark, who is the father, that the police band should be one of the first group or organization to be the beneficiary of.
A father of the Melisiswe brothers, Mark James, said that the boys are involved in a musical program where they collect musical instruments and donate to children all over the world, and decided to make a donation to the Police Force Band to be used for its annual youth summer program.
It's our pleasure to be able to partner with Vinci Marketing and also with the police band. I don't know how many of you would remember when the boys were living here in 2015, they actually stood right here in this band room and they rehearsed the national anthem. I think they were doing it for inter-school sports, you know, so that brings back a lot of memories just being here. The program that Mr. Brown mentioned, the Gold Mine Music Program, is where they collect instruments and they give to kids all around the world, but of course we're biased towards St. Vincent, right? So we'll always make sure that we take care of home. And you know, music, where words fail, music speak. So we know how important music is. And the music, you know, it's through music that they've been able to do so many wonderful things. So they just want to lend their hand in providing instruments to organizations such as this who do a lot of community outreach. So on behalf of Mark, Seth, and Zachary, we must say thank you for giving us the opportunity to give these instruments to you. And the reception is really well, so we want to do more. I mentioned to the Commissioner, because of this wonderful reception, we definitely want to do more. And in terms of donating instruments and donating our time and our resources.
Meanwhile, Commissioner of Police Colin John said that the donation comes at an opportune time when the Police Force Band is celebrating 69 years of existence.
I'm really happy that the Melisiswe brothers chose St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and more so the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force, to give this generous donation to. And this donation comes at an opportune time. Last Thursday, based on my research, was 69 years of existence of the Royal St. Vincent and Grenadines Police Force Band. So it's a good 69th birthday gift for the police force band.
Commissioner John said over the years the police band has benefited from contributions from government and other corporate citizens, and they appreciate all the support. John said that the police band has been pivotal in molding the lives of many of the nation's youth through its annual summer program, noting that some of the participants are now a part of the RSVG police force.
Here we'll have in excess of 150 participants in the police summer youth program, and that the reason why it's only about 150 is because we limit the number of applicants, so we can easily get in excess of 200 applicants. And it is a success story in that members of that youth program, they are current members of the police force band now. So they have graduated from the police summer program and they have become full-fledged police officers. So that's a win in itself.
The police band is also partnering with the Ministry of National Mobilization on an apprenticeship program which engages other young people. According to Commissioner John, he's pleased with the work the band and its with the work of the band and its involvement with the youth.
Music is a form of entertainment. It's also a source of employment, and we are providing youths with employment so that it would reduce significantly their reasons to embark on a life of crime. So teaching music, it's a part of the preventative policing aspect of the whole crime fighting apparatus. So I just want to thank you, Mark, thank Vinci Marketing for suggesting us as a worthy recipient, thank the Melizwe brothers for their performance and for putting St. Vincent and the Grenadines more on the map